Have you ever been on the side of the road in an emergency situation and not known what to do? I think we've all been there, and it can be intimidating and sometimes even embarrassing. With that being said, I'm going to teach you how to change your tires safely. First, you will want to find a good location on a solid level ground where you can change the tire. Second, you will need the appropriate tools needed to change your tire. Third, I will walk you through the steps that you will need to complete a safe, proper tire change. One of the most important things to remember when you have a roadside emergency is safety first. You always want to make sure that when you first realize that you have a flat tire, you need to pull off to the shoulder and put your hazard lights on. Now don't just pull off on any part of the shoulder. You want to make sure that you are not on a hill, and if possible, get on a side road where there is the least amount of traffic possible. It is very important that you find a level area where you don't have to worry about your car rolling or your jack falling over once the car is jacked up. Once you have found a safe spot to pull off the road, be sure that you have adequate room to change the tire. Next, you will need to be sure that you have all the tools necessary to get the job done. Ideally, you should already have all the tools in your vehicle. When you purchase it, they're provided. Prior to driving any vehicle, you should always make sure that your vehicle is equipped with a spare tire and all the necessary tools to change that tire in the event of an emergency. The tools that are needed to change a flat tire are a jack, a lug wrench, gloves for safety purposes, and of course the spare. As I mentioned before, parking on a flat level surface is very important when using your jack to raise the car up. This will prevent the car from rolling and the jack from tipping over, which could cause serious injury. You will need to set your emergency brake just as a precaution prior to raising the car. First, use the lug wrench on the locking nuts or lug nuts to loosen them so that you won't have to apply so much force while the car is in the air. You will want to do this before you raise the car. Once the lug nuts have been loosened slightly, place the jack under the car in a solid location. A good recommended location for placing a jack, I would say, would be under the shock mounts. That's where I typically place it. If that's not feasible, and it may not be on a small car, you want to put that under the frame and jack from that point. Only raise the car high enough so that you have enough clearance between the ground and the tire. Typically about an inch of clearance would be enough. Make sure that the car is stable before loosening the lug nuts the rest of the way. Remove all the lug nuts and pull the tire from the car. Be sure that you are wearing your gloves during this process, as there could be sharp objects such as metal sticking out of the tire that could potentially cut your hands or poke into your skin. Once the tire is removed, set it to the side. Don't put the damaged tire back in the trunk or the bed of the truck just yet. You want to make sure that the car is safely off the jack and sitting flat on the ground. Any sudden shift in weight could potentially knock the vehicle off the jack. Once the tire is removed, place the spare on the hub of the vehicle and hand tighten the lug nuts to ensure that the wheel is sitting flush onto the hub. Use the lug wrench to tighten the nuts, but be sure not to bear down on them so that you eliminate any movement of the vehicle. Once you have verified that the wheel is flush to the hub, you can slowly start turning the jack handle to lower the vehicle back to the ground. Remove the jack out from under the vehicle and start tightening the lug nuts with the wrench. Be sure that you tighten them in a star pattern. Tighten the top, the bottom, and then left to right. This will ensure that you don't over-tighten the nuts and create a binding of the wheel to the hub. Once all the lug nuts are tightened down, go over them again to make sure that they are tight and you didn't miss one. That's it. You have successfully changed a flat tire, and you can now load your tools along with your damaged tire into your car or truck. It is recommended that you get the tire fixed at your next available time slot so that a trained mechanic can reinstall the tire and use the recommended torque values on your lug nuts. This will ensure that the tire is professionally installed and you can put your mind at ease for any safety concerns that you might have. Thank you for your time, and I hope that this will help you if you ever experience a flat tire when you're out in the middle of nowhere. Thank you.